From an England perspective, Macca,
Brilliant.
just so comfortable.
Yeah, I think the first 10 minutes were a little bit cagey. Then England realised that actually Sweden are not very good. And were very good in the end. Won really comfortably, as you rightly said. Nice, thorough, professional job. They never looked in any moment of danger. And qualified an absolute cancer, to be honest. Very pleasing day. Can't have any qualms about the way England played because they were so comfortable. I must admit, I thought Sweden were woeful. All the things we've said about them being organised and strong and defensively sound, that went all out the window today, and they were a shadow of the performances they put in. But all credit to England. I thought they were excellent again today.
You kind of felt Sweden maybe hit their ceiling, and that was it today.
Well, yeah, but England were just too good for them. Didn't allow them to play. Henderson was good again. I mean, he's playing on a yellow card. It takes a lot of discipline. Back three were excellent again. Particularly, they've got two big guys up front, big and strong, that caused Germany problems, caused Mexico problems. But the Maguire, Stones and Walker threesome was playing really well. Keeper's playing great. Lingard and Ali were quiet in the first half. And I thought Sterling's been getting a lot of stick, but obviously his finishing is not great. It's improved, certainly improved at Man City this year. But his movement was pretty good, and his pace and running in behind. So I just thought it was a really professional and solid performance, and they never got a sniff.
At least he ran that way, didn't he, Sterling,
yeah.
once, just to break the lines and run forwards and just to mix it up a little bit.
Not used to this as Englishmen.
No, we're not.
It's kind of easy and straightforward, no penalty drama or anything like that.
If you defend well all around the field, which England did, they never really looked a threat. Pickford had to make 3 saves in the second half when Sweden started to put more pressure on. But I thought Trippier down the right-hand side. In the first half, although England didn't play expansive football, whenever they got the ball into the wide areas, they got crosses into the box. Granquist wasn't as dominant as he was against Switzerland, as we saw for the goal. And every time England had a free kick, it looked as though Maguire was going to win the ball in the air, which is a major plus for England.
You take a look at the statistics. England with more possession, more shots, and deserved winners in the end.
Comfortable, deserved winners. I'll take the point of Sterling even further. I think he's a player that when we were coming into this game, our concern was, or the concern of English fans was, okay, how do we break through this very well-organized Swedish back line and indeed the midfield? His movement in between the lines, where he created separation from midfielders dropping back and then forces the center backs to step into a position where they don't want to defend, that either opens up spaces underneath or spaces in behind. His recognition of those spaces was very good. He created that separation when he ran with the ball, and then when center backs stepped to him, then he ran in behind. That stretched Sweden, and there was space for England to play. They took advantage of the space, and as a quarterfinalist, you think it's going to be nervous. You think it's going to be tight. You think there's going to be a lot of things that may go against you. This was comfortable.
Although Pickford had to make 3 saves in the second half.
Yeah, well,
big saves.
Maybe so, but this felt at times as it was a preparation match for the tournament, not a quarterfinal match of the tournament.
Don't forget, Sweden beat France in qualifying.
Yep.
Right? They beat Italy over 2 games. They beat South Korea. Should have got some against Germany. Absolutely pasted Mexico. Then put out a very organised Switzerland team. It was no fluke that they got there. But England made them look very average today. I mean, I know they're a workmanlike side, but they've been a lot more competitive than all these other games that I talked about than they were today. A lot of coaches at this World Cup look as if they've thrown their plans out the window. At least England came and have stuck with a plan. Their back three and the personnel is pretty much stayed the same. Also, all the teams have played. People can say, oh, they've played some weaker teams. Every one they've played has been teams that have sat in and tried to make it difficult, which makes it kind of ugly to play against.
There was no way that really Sweden looked as though they were going to cause England problems because they didn't have enough pace to run in behind. There wasn't enough movement to create overloads anywhere on the field, and they didn't have anybody that can go past somebody with the ball. So when you've got those 3 things, or haven't got those 3 things, you've got a major problem. But England defended well all around the field and didn't allow them to play their game, get it up to the front players, and the 2 front players linking up with each other. They didn't allow too many crosses to come into the box. So it was a good performance.
The only game that wasn't defence against attack was Belgium, but the whole team was changed.
Sure.
So Croatia, semi-final, is actually going to be one of the first games in this competition where England are going to face a side that's going to go at them as much as they're going to go.
Might have more possession.
Might be a little bit more open for the Dele Allis, for the Raheem Sterlings and Lingards and players like that, because every team they've played has been teams that have sat in and put men behind the ball.
Robert, when you looked at this on paper, you kind of thought, Croatia, Russia, it's not going to be that good. But yet again, this World Cup has defied us, and it was very entertaining.
Russia played with great energy. They got the ball forward into good areas. The centre-forward always looked a threat. Croatia didn't play at their very best. And again, set pieces were an important part of the game. Two-headed goals. And it's been the case through so many games recently that set pieces, whether it be a corner or a free kick bent into the right areas, teams are dangerous.
Interesting, wasn't it? Because their extra time played out more dramatically than we've seen certainly in previous occasions so far in this tournament. Is it fair? Did Croatia deserve to go through?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're the better team. Russia, we're all surprised. I think they are even surprised that they got to this point. But they gave themselves an opportunity, and they get to the penalty kick shootout. It doesn't quite work out. I just think that for the spectacle, for the outsiders, not the Russian fans, for those of us watching from the outside, it's better to have Croatia and England in the semi-final because Croatia is now going to test England. We're going to see whether they can maintain the same level of possession. We're going to see the best of England and the best of Croatia. And when we talk about the best of Croatia, you cannot talk about Croatia without mentioning Luka Modric. He was quiet in the first half, but when he got into the game later in that first half and then into the second half, he's perhaps the best player in this tournament so far in the way that he's able to generate offense for them, in the way that he's able to defend, the possession, his vision, and how come he's on the ball. That level of confidence, you can't just make it up. You know you're good.
He seemed to run quicker with the ball than he did without it. He went past people with such ease in that last sort of half of the game and in the extra time. He was magnificent.
You talk about a World Cup being energised. This World Cup has been fantastic, but I think Russia have typified that because coming into this World Cup, they couldn't raise a gallop.
Nope.
They couldn't raise a gallop. They thought, where's it going to come from? They've no energy about the side. They've got an ageing squad, particularly at the back. Cheryshev was a bit of a star for them, but he wasn't starting the tournament. So they've been, and I think momentum played a big part as well for them. They got a bit of confidence, and they were absolutely great. But I think England and Southgate will be looking at that game in a video and saying, that's not the Croatia that we know. And maybe, and we were talking about it earlier, maybe we rushed to, after the Argentina game, saying, oh, this is a great side. This is a good Croatian side. I don't think it's a great Croatian side, but I think it's better than what we saw tonight against Russia. I think they will be better against England, particularly the big players. Perisic, Modric, Rakitic, Mandzukic, who didn't have their best games tonight.
They done themselves proud, didn't they, Russia?
Well, yeah, because like a lot of people, including myself, didn't even have them getting out of the group. You thought, oh, that's it.
I mean, when you saw the end of the game, they were still running around. They had more energy than Croatia, didn't they? Croatia were dropping like flies, a lot of their big players, yet the Russians were, you know, Ignashevich, who's 38, 39 at the back, Akinfeev, the goalkeeper. I mean, they look fresh as you like, and they were still, you know, at it constantly. And fair play to them, because we didn't have them getting this far, and they made a real go of it. I thought there was a significant gap between these two teams today, and I was wrong, because Russia acquitted themselves again really, really well, and they were unfortunate.
When you look at the equaliser with the header, Fernandez, when you talked about it, Mandzukic and the other defenders, they were static, they looked tired, they looked out on their feet, and he went and attacked the ball, and it was a great equaliser.
Luka Modric, again with penalty drama.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it?
I mean, that could quite easily go on the other side, obviously.
Well, that's the difference between them getting through and not. I mean, what was it? He missed one in the Denmark game in normal time. Then he scored one in the penalty shootout. Then he's got to step up again. I don't care how good a player you are, or if you're playing at Real Madrid or not. It's in your head. Shoot out for your country. And Akinfeev guessed almost correct in every penalty. Did great. And that must have been a split second or 2 seconds when that ball was coming across.
Yeah.
He thought, that's hit the post and gone out. I mean, that's just the difference between going into the semi-finals and getting knocked out.